Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys are having a great and exceptional day. Today's word of the day is artists. And basically artist is a creative. Today we have so many creatives, and thankfully because of social media and various other different technical platforms, we are able to live in a time frame where people will be able to express their display their artistic expressions in various different forms, whether it's them being on camera like me, whether it's just them speaking with a picture up and they're not on camera. They're able to create different cartoons. People have their own little they create a little online show. They online their own series, sometimes their own movies, documentaries, or just people that just like to get online to just talk for the sake of talking about various different subject matters, whether those subject matters are positive or whether they're negative. But that's the beautiful thing about artistry, especially in today's world. Because of the technology, we can express it in so many different ways. There was a time where you can only be an artist if you were a great painter. Great example, I was terrible when it came to arts. When it came to painting, terrible. Drawing, terrible. Handwriting is still terrible to this day. So when I was able to learn how to type back in high school, I was like, I can get, and I took that very seriously because I'm like, I even at 16 or 17 years old, I knew my handwriting for the most part was always going to be atrocious. And so to this day, even when somebody asks me to write something down, I hate doing it. But I can admit that. And I used to be embarrassed about it when I was younger, but as a grown man, I'm like, it is what it is. Like, I lost my wallet recently. And I had to write down my phone number at the store that I lost it. And I was like, but I was so ticked off, I didn't care. So, anybody, when you're upset about a situation, it can just take you to so many different levels to where, you remain calm and try to keep your dignity and things of that nature. But you're upset to the point where you're trying to find a recourse on some sort of level. So, but anyways, long story short, don't lose your artistic expressions in any fashion, and no matter how old you get, because the saddest thing in life is for a lot of people, when they get older, they get very bitter, become way more miserable. I run into so many people like that. It's ridiculous. And I always say to them, as I get older, I don't want to get older and bitter. I want to get happier, healthier, and live a prosperous life. Today's quote of the day is by Big Daddy Kane. He says, I think a lot of times you have artists that try to deliver a positive message. And he's very right about that. Even though majority of the time, especially if you look at most of today's rap music, a good chunk of it is very ratchet, and especially that's with the music industry, the owners of the industry push those messages, because you can say what you want. I'm an 80s baby. I'm an 80s baby, but I know that, and we had music that had a lot of crazy things involving, senseless violence, drug dealing, pimping, etc., and so forth. But a lot of times, like I said, back then, you had albums that took you to a place. People were actually, for the most part, like Ice-T would call it reality. He didn't call gangster rap. He called it reality rap because people were speaking about their reality, their day-to-day, and the day-to-day of the area that they lived in the world, or in the part of the United States that they were subjected to. Like when Ice-T was like, I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. He lived in Los Angeles during the 80s. Excuse me, when it was way more crazier compared to now, because like all the major cities are being gentrified, but all the major cities in the 80s and the 90s were the most, there was literally war zones, gang banging war zones, pimping, drug dealing, houses getting robbed, home invasions. I don't care if you was in Dallas, I don't care if you was in Jackson, Mississippi, I don't care if you were in New York City, you was in Miami. It was crazy during that time frame, and you still have craziness now. Only difference is it's not as bad because you don't have as many projects anymore, number one. And then number two, you don't have, it's not cheap to live in these cities anymore. It's not like three cities that have one thing in common is that they are considered to be the most expensive cities in the country. New York, and LA. But anyways, I gotta go because somebody's ringing the doorbell. But anyways, do the great 3 things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves, or you're gonna live like a fool.